Wolfpack, what is going on? It's your boy, the Wolf of Roto Street, rotostreetjournal.com, where we breed and feed you fantasy wolves here with your fantasy playoffs, the biggest, best time of the year, do or die time, kicking off with an absolute beauty. The Rams getting 3 points at the 49ers, a divisional rival showdown, playoffs essentially on the line for both teams, and of course, the fantasy season on the line for all of you guys. What more could we ask for on this Thursday night? Cheers, couple Miller, tall boys. Got to have him down the hatch here. I got a comment on YouTube. Anytime the Wolf is drinking, he's great. So, hey, I'm glad my drinking habits are getting praised, Mother. Thank you. Are you proud? No, but so pumped to be here, guys. Thank you so much for tuning on in. We got a beauty to cover. I've got 3 storylines I want to hit before this game that I think a lot of questions are going to center around. But of course, the lifeblood of this show is all of your questions. So get them on here. Let's go. Let's get this Thursday night football victory and have a monster start to our fantasy playoffs. Beginning with the preview of the game, Rams again getting those 3 points, facing these 49ers an over-under, a healthy over-under of 49.5. Couple things to consider here. Trent Williams will be inactive, stalwart left tackle that obviously impacts both pass protection and the gaping running lanes he opens. This offense still put up 38 points with ease without him last week against a good Chicago defense. So I have no worries that is ultimately going to throw things off not having Trent Williams. They haven't had him for a couple weeks now, and it still seemed like they were humming right along. The other big news is that Isaac Guerendo will be playing tonight. Should you play him? We're going to dive into him in just a few minutes. But in terms of the game preview, I'm going Rams. I'm taking the points. I'm taking the Rams. I think the Rams win outright. So if you want to go to plus 155, get that value, go for it. But ultimately, a smart bet would be taking the 3 points, because this game, I imagine, will be decided by a point, at worst a field goal, so you get a push. I'll take that any day of the week. And I still, again, think the Rams outright win this. They have more on the line. And just to tell you what they have on the line, the Rams, if they win, they have a 50% shot of making the playoffs from here on out. The Niners, meanwhile, should they win, they have about an 18% chance. Now, it's not dead. They'd have to essentially win out, get a tiny bit of help. They've got the team and the talent to do it, but they just have never put it together all year, really all season. And so I don't know. And if they lose, they're dead. There's no more kicking. If the Rams lose, they still would have a 23% chance, so they could still technically get in. But really, whoever loses this game is almost as good as dead in the fantasy, rather the rest of the season for their own playoffs. So with that in mind, I lean into Sean McVay and the Rams in this one. They're 13-4 on short rest under Sean McVay, 8-1 against the spread since 2021, 4-0 against the spread since the start of last year. Again, on these early week games, McVay is a master of crafting a perfect game plan in these types of situations. Now, they are 0-3, the Rams, as road underdogs, 4-11 against the spread in the last 3 seasons. Not typically a situation that Sean McVay thrives in, but ultimately I expect good things for this Rams team, fresh off that massive 44-42 win over the Buffalo Bills last week. But again, we did get a huge game from the 49ers, 38-13 win against the Bears, dismantling them thoroughly throughout that game. But give me the Rams, give me the over. We've now had 4 straight Rams 49ers matchups go over the total, and I am taking that total yet again, the over here. And so I think the Rams ultimately covering in 3 straight meetings against Kyle Shanahan, ultimately cooking on these short weeks and with the over-under as it is. Give me Rams, give me the over. That's how I'm playing this game. Now, in terms of the storylines here and what we have going, and we do have a super chat, so you know what? It's just Anthony Fella sharing his hype playoffs. Let's go, Wolfpack. Well, thank you so much for supporting your boy, Mr. Fella, to ultimately help out the show, keep these lights on over here at the Roto Street Journal. But if you guys do have a question, you want to dive in ahead of the line and support your boy all at the same time, the super chat is your way of doing so. But thank you, Mr. Fella. You always come in here. You always are supporting your guy here. I imagine you beat Mr. Forrester last week, and we're seeing you show up here with those fire emojis. Love to see it. But thank you again so much for your support, Anthony. And anybody else, a free way to support your boy is just hitting that thumbs up button. We got almost 200 of you, and we haven't even hit 5 minutes yet. You love to see that. And the way we get out to more people is that thumbs up button, the heart button on Twitter, this retweets, all those good things. It really does help us grow in a free, easy way. If you like what we're doing, please do support us. It's so greatly appreciated. But let's dive into these stories and then on to your questions. Again, I only picked 3 because I know this is a loaded one, and I want to make sure to have plenty of time to dive into everything you guys have for me. A little water first, though, huh? So we got Jauan Jennings here. Is he a absolute must start? And as a Jauan Jennings aficionado, if you watch any of my content, you know at this point I am in love with this guy. He is just blocking people out of the building. He is making tough contested grabs. Him and Purdy have a lights-out rapport. And now you think the past 5 games he's had here without Brandon Ayuk. Now, it's a little tainted because one of those games was the Buffalo Snow Bowl where the 49ers completely stalled out as an entire unit. The other game was with Brandon Allen, week 12, week 13. But we have 3 games so far with Brock Purdy, Jauan Jennings, and not a blizzard. And ultimately, how has he done in those games? 16.3 fantasy points, wide receiver 15, 25.1 wide receiver 7, and 28.0 wide receiver 6. He's absolutely cooking. Again, wide receiver 15, the low of those 3 games, and as high as 28 fantasy points. He's led the team in snaps, routes, and targets in all 5 of those games. And ultimately, the last time he faced the Rams, Jauan Jennings, 12 targets, 11 catches, 175 yards, and 3 touchdowns for 46.5 fantasy points. One of the highest scores of the entire last, not season, decade. So, yes, there's upside. It seems to be a nice, safe floor, too, here with the way Jauan Jennings has developed. Unless, is everything going to go to Deebo, the squeaky wheel? Quote, not struggling at all, not just getting the ball, said Deebo Samuel on Sunday in a fit of frustration, and ultimately gets community noted with the Twitter sphere correcting Deebo and saying, you actually suck so far this year. And he does. I don't know what's going on. I have been one of the biggest Deebo truthers out there. Love the way the man plays, the way he invites contact, how dangerous he is with the ball in his hands, or at least used to be. Let's dive into what we're seeing so far. And again, the squeaky wheel, will it get greased? So far, there's lots of quotes that suggest it will. You got Brock Purdy saying, I want to get Deebo the ball every play if I could. I want to have him break all the records as best as possible. I want Deebo to do Deebo things. I'm going to do everything I can to give him the ball. I love my guy. Okay, seems pretty promising. Sure, Shanahan, Deebo wants to help us out, and the only way he helps us out is getting him the ball more. We'd like to get it to him more, and we'll continue to work at that. Sounds like another greasing coming, but words and actions, of course, speak differently, and we shall see. Again, with the season on the line and with Deebo really not playing that well, will they truly force the ball just to make this guy happy? We'll find out. I'm betting on a maybe at best, though. And so, yeah, sure, I find getting Deebo in the lineups, given all this hype. But let's dive into how this man is performing. He's not really getting the ball, despite that complaint there. The ball is not going to him all that much less often. 6.0 touches per game this year. That's just half a touch less than last year. But you look at this year versus last year, 9.5 fantasy points per game this year. Wide receiver 45. Compared to 16.2 points per game last year. Wide receiver 12. His expected fantasy points last year, 12.9, or this year rather, 12.9. He's -3 below what is expected of him based on the usage he's getting. And then last year was 13.5, so very close. 12.9, 13.5, very minimal difference in terms of usage. But instead of a 3-point boost, what we saw last year, he's actually performing -3 points compared to his expectations. 97 yards from scrimmage on 17 touches. Not just in 1 week, the past 4 weeks, averaging 5.7 yards per touch, 21, 21, 20, and 35 yards from scrimmage across his last 4. He has been particularly brutal lately. He just doesn't look good. He looks slow. He looks a little chubbier than usual. He's averaging on the year 53.8 yards per game, on pace for the lowest of his career by far. 32 carries. He's getting 1.28 yards per after contact per rush, compared to his career average of 2.07. Actually, that's the career low before this year. He's ultimately averaged close to 3 yards after contact. The man is just not doing what he usually does, and he doesn't look like he is. 2.9 yards per carry. Absolutely pathetic on the front here. So tough season for Deebo, and ultimately on pace for career lows. But maybe this is the get-right spot. He has smashed the Rams in the past. He averages 88 yards from scrimmage against them. He scored 7 touchdowns across 9 career games against the Rams. And according to Kittle, he's about to, quote, pop off. You know this team loves him. You know they're going to try to get him going. But again, with playoffs on the line, if he's just not making things happen, I don't know that they'll continue to ride him. So I am 5 spots below ECR on Deebo on the week. I have him ranked right in that like wide receiver 3 range, which is essentially where he belongs, but definitely not a must start to me. I do worry about it. I'm benching him personally for Tyrone Tracy, and it scares me. And that should encourage all of you to start Deebo. I tweeted it out right before the show. You know, Deebo in your lineup, 2 catches for 23 scoreless yards. Deebo on your bench, 12 catches for 170 and 2 touchdowns. You know, like this is how it's going to be. And it sucks that we have to accept it, but it is. And ultimately, I'm benching the guy. I can't keep him going in my lineup the way he's been performing. I think Malik Neighbors and Tyrone Tracy deserve the respect of my lineup. Again, those 4 games have been absolutely brutal for Deebo. So if nothing else, it's going to send a message to my fantasy locker room, and we shall see how that message is received. The last story we have, and a question I already am seeing a few of, is what's the deal with Isaac Guerendo and his foot? Do we trust this guy? So last week, 78 yards, 2 scores, ultimately 50 yards through the air as well to rack up 26.8 PPR points, was the running back 2. The only other time that Guerendo saw over 50% of snaps, he was the running back 10 with 19.2. So legitimately an RB1 in both games. He has seen half of the snaps and touches. And ultimately, I think he would have been well over half. He had 56% of the snaps last week, but he did not play for the majority of the fourth quarter when he suffered that foot injury. Now, a lot of the reports, he even said it right after the game, like this was precautionary. We're winning, so we just kind of decided to take me out. Nothing revealed in the scans. Ultimately came back to practice last week in a limited fashion, albeit, but still, the guy was out there. It does not sound like a major concern. The bigger concern, though, is that even dating back to his days at Louisville, you think about why did this specimen, 4'3", 220 pounds, ridiculous size, speed, nightmare, and he looks very good every time he's touching the rock. Like, it's not just a workout warrior. I love what I'm seeing from the kid. But ultimately, when you read his profile, it sounds like anytime he got anything close to extensive usage, he just broke down. He suffered a foot thing, and he's a Lisfranc before. He had hamstring issues and soft tissue worries. And so maybe this foot thing's not an issue at all, but it seems a decent bet that whether this flares up or something else does, it seems to be kind of his MO, and the reason why he wasn't truly given a feature workload ever, despite being such an athletic freak, despite being solid every time the ball's in his hands, was mostly because he was unreliable in terms of holding up. And that has to be your concern here. But I'll tell you this, if you got 3/4 of Isaac Guerendo tonight, you're going to get 16 fantasy points. That's just how he's been so far. The matchup's not hard. It's a top 10 matchup against the Rams. And if he did this against the Bears, I have no doubt that Isaac Guerendo can at least find the end zone and get you about 70 to 100 yards on the ground through 3-ish quarters. And if you last the game, and this is a close one, you might have yourself a league winner this week. So I am playing Isaac Guerendo. He's inside my top 20 running backs. Certainly, most of the questions I've gotten texted or in the DMs, I've said go Guerendo. It's a big risk. The worst case scenario would be, a first quarter touch and he's trotting off to the sideline and you don't see him the rest of the game. He does have that downside to just completely ruin your week and then ultimately your season because of it. So you got to acknowledge that. You got to stomach it. I personally think it is worth stomaching. And of course, if it doesn't pan out, you're more than welcome to tell me, F you, Wolf. You pushed me and I went with it and I blew it. But if you're going to do that, I do hope you come back and say, Wolf, you gave me the nudge I needed, and he had 120 yards and 2 touchdowns, and now I'm cruising to my semifinals. So either way, we shall see. I do lean closer to the upside than the floor, but it is a wide range of outcomes, and I just want to make sure that's very clear for all of you. The only clarity that I think I might have offered in there is you 100% start Jauan Jennings. Deebo, I know he's squeaky. I know everybody's commenting it. I don't fully buy that he's going to get fed. I am benching him in my personal league. So, hey, if it blows up in your face, it's going to be blowing up in mine. I at least follow the advice I give. I am benching him right now for Tyrone Tracy. Let me know if you guys think I'm absolutely nuts out there. And then 3, I would be playing Guerendo where I have him. Unfortunately, I do not really have Guerendo because I blew all my waiver wire fab on Jauan Jennings, on Bucky Irving. I have some great pickups. I did not have any ammunition to go get this guy. So I'm scared if I'm facing him. I certainly am. I'm scared if I'm playing him, but I do think the upside is worth the risk here. Good luck if you are rolling him out. Now, Wolfpack, that is all I have in terms of the storylines. Now, it does look like while I was ripping through those, we had a few super chats coming on in. My apologies on the delay there. We don't have our beautiful mod, Mr. Campanelli, quite in the driver's seat tonight. But thank you guys so much, fella, coming in with a second, not just a hype one this time, but he does have a question here for us asking DK, Waddle, Jamo Williams, or Guerendo start one full PPR. Man, I'll tell you, fella, I'm going Guerendo here. Again, the track record in his 2 starts, the way this Shanahan backfield has always made monsters out of no matter who is behind the quarterback there, they always perform. I mean, Carlos Hyde in the back 9 of his career had like a 1,400 yard. It's just the Shanahan. You don't have to look at Kyle Shanahan. Look at his dad. Look at his father. Look at Kubiak, who was groomed under him. Like, this is the ultimate scheme for any running back. And anytime a back is getting meaningful touches in it, I can't ignore it. You obviously acknowledge the risk. You know that there's a chance that this thing flares up or something else happens, because that's just what happens with Guerendo. We have a track record of that. That does make him a little bit nerve-wracking. I am fully aware. And I'm absorbing the risk. These other 2 guys, like, you just look at Jamo, Waddle, DK, and any one of, like, all 3 of them have very, very low floors as well. I'd say DK is the next closest if you don't want to stomach the Guerendo risk. We've seen some good games out of Waddle. It's definitely been encouraging, intriguing, but still very tough for me to get there when you have a guy like Guerendo that's averaging, well over 20 points per start so far. Limited sample size, but he's looked very good in both of them. So I'm going Guerendo here, fella. Thank you so much for the support. Best of luck. I hope it pans out for you, brother. Our Candidates. I'm not giving you the AR this time. I know it. Know who you are. And thank you so much, brother, for your support always of the show. Struggling without Godwin, Olave. Man, can I just pour one down my throat for Chris Godwin real quick? Oh, absolutely brutal losing this guy. I am feeling it myself. I lost him and McCaffrey. Still fighting, still got the number 3 seed, hoping for the best. This is my main league, of course. Fight for the Fez, shouting out the boys there. But man, losing Godwin, CMC, it looks like you had a monster when you had those. And now I'm in the fight. We'll see how it goes. Love my squad still. They're scrappy as all hell. But Godwin was an absolute leader. He's in my IR spot, our cannabis. I hope you put him in there too, so the squad can you can get a guy the ring. He has that locker room presence, the motivating force, the heartbeat for your roster. But in terms of your question, you got to pick 2 and maybe a flex out of Devonta Smith, Josh Downs, DJ Moore, Vele, and Westbrook. Also have On or Tracy for the flex. I do like Tracy for the flex. I am worried about the Baltimore matchup. Don't get me wrong. But he's averaged a very healthy target share. In addition to that, we know Baltimore, as good as they are against running backs in general, they do give up a decent amount of receptions to the position. So I do like Tracy for your flex. Just because I look at the receiver options, I'm not going Vele in my fantasy playoffs right now. I'm not going Westbrook Akini. I know the touchdown streak was great and it was awesome and hilarious and unsustainable, and he ultimately only put up 1.6 last week. If any of those guys are going to dud, it's Vele, it's Westbrook. So ultimately, I'm looking at Devonta Smith and I'm looking at DJ Moore. I'm intrigued by Josh Downs, but I hate when it's an Anthony Richardson at quarterback, and I hate that it's against the Broncos, a very tough defense to get it done against. So give me Devonta Smith, give me DJ Moore, who he's been playing very well since that coordinator change. And Devonta Smith, yeah, Pittsburgh, scary matchup, but they are most generous to slot receivers, which is where he has done the vast majority of his routes running from this season. So yeah, I like going with D. Smith, DJ Moore, and Tyrone Tracy of your options here, our cannabis. Best of luck, brother. Thank you so much for your steady support of the show. Levi C. constantly super chatting. You are a legend, my man. And thanks again for when you hit me up on Twitter saying, hey, it's Levi. It's so tough. I get so many hits. I'm not trying to sound like a douche, but you get a lot of questions throughout the day. And so I just see one thing like that where I'm like, oh, that's my guy. He always is supporting me. The least I can do is at least respond to you. So thank you for pointing that out, Levi. I'm glad to know Jay Coop, whatever that name is on Twitter, is you. So thank you for your support always. You're a real one, Levi, and I greatly appreciate it. You need 2 receivers, 1 tight end, and 1 flex. I do remember some of your questions earlier on the day. You got yourself some situations here, Levi. So let's dive on in here. Brian Thomas, Drake London, Kupp, Evans, Kittle, McBride. Oh, man, this could be a double tight end flex situation. I think you got to play Kittle tonight. And you got to play McBride. There's no way you don't get those 2. My top 2 tight ends of the week. I look at your receivers, and it's really tough to think, okay, so who am I benching? You're playing Kupp. You're playing Evans. I mean, so didn't Drake London versus Kittle? You know, I feel like you have to play McBride in full PPR. The volume he's getting, the catches he's racking up. You have to play McBride. So then it does come down to like Kittle versus Drake London, because I think Kupp and Evans are far and away your best options at receiver. Now, if Evans is injured and he's going to rest or anything, of course, you can pivot. And you got a great pivot, whether it's London or Thomas. This decision is coming down to like Kittle versus London in a way for me. I feel like I want to roll the big dog Kittle. My only worry with that is like if it is going to end up being a Deebo night, if they are going to force the ball to the squeaky wheel. And then, of course, Jauan Jennings, you're leading this team in targets or tying for the lead in 5 straight games. It's not impossible that Kittle just gets erased a little bit. This is a really, really good question here. You have the good news is it's not like I'm struggling because they're all so crappy and I just don't know what to do here. It's more so they're all so good and I just don't know which one to roll with. London is making me a little nervous with it's less about him and it's more about Kirk Cousins. The roll is fine. The volume's good. Kirk Cousins doesn't look like he can plant on his back leg right now. So that makes me a little nervous. So I think I'm going Kupp, Evans, Kittle, McBride. The double tight end, roll it on out. Let's see what happens. That's where I'm leaning, Levi. Oh man, like I'm going to quickly look at what has London done these last couple of weeks? Because I don't have London anywhere. I know I faced him and he had a huge game like about 4 or 5 weeks ago. But I also have watched Kirk Cousins just like take a dump all in his pants for multiple weeks in a row. So I wanted to see how bad, if at all, London's been. If he's been weathering the storm, that's going to change things. So, and this is full PPR. So let me pull up Mr. Drake London full PPR game log real quick and double check this. 9, 17, and 12 in the last 3, 18, 11, 7. Go Kittle. He's been a beast all year. We'll go Kupp, Evans, Kittle, McBride. That's where I'm leaning for that one. And then Levi coming in with a second super chat. Thank you so much for your generosity with this one. We got PPR. Need 2 running backs. Oops, sorry. I keep clicking it and it keeps coming off. There we go. PPR, need 2 running backs, Jaylen Warren, Braylon Allen, Patrick Taylor, Spears. Shouldn't play Taylor tonight with a chance of no Pollard or Breece, right? Yeah, so especially with Guerendo playing, Levi, this would have been a much tougher question had we had Guerendo sitting tonight and we had the choice of our 49ers running backs. But because we don't have Guerendo there, ultimately, I do like just waiting it out here. I think both Braylon Allen, I don't think Pollard's going to miss time. It's a great handcuff to have here. But I'm just thinking like Taylor, you need a Guerendo injury, which is not impossible here. So I'm leaning here, Braylon Allen and probably Jaylen Warren. Maybe things get better for Spears. You could always stash. I don't know if Sincere McCormick is out there. He's already been named the starter. I'd probably play him over any of these guys. But yeah, you're looking at handcuffs and you at least have a chance that the starters miss time with some of these others. With Patrick Taylor, we know the starter's playing. It's just a matter of does he get an in-game injury? Risky thing to bet on in your fantasy finals because we could just get absolutely nothing from him at that point. Alrighty. So that is the 2 I would go is most likely Braylon Allen. And again, it comes down to the injuries here with Pollard, Breece. How does that shake out? But yeah, I'm going to go Jaylen Warren, Braylon Allen as of today. Give me just 1 sec, guys. I have somebody picking up a couch downstairs, so I need to just quickly yell down and let them know that they're here. Just 1 second, Wolfpack. I really appreciate your patience. Thank you so much, Papa Sarno. This will take 2 seconds, and if I need to sign off, I might have to run, but I don't think I have to. So give me just 10 seconds. Alrighty, guys. So that's getting settled right now, and I might have to just pop off for a quick second to help move something. But for right now, let me just answer the rest of the questions we got here from Papa Sarno with that super chat half PPR. Laporta or Kraft need one running back and flex. Guerendo, Tracy, Jennings, Harrison Jr., and then Burrow or Hurts. Like the stream, he's reminding people those thumbs up are so greatly appreciated. Thank you. And so we have of these options, one running back, one flex. You got to go Jennings 110% at the flex. He is the best option of these ones. And then ultimately for the two running backs, I do lean Tracy slightly over Guerendo just because that in-game aggravation risk we've been talking about with Guerendo. As much upside as he has and his higher ceiling certainly than Tracy, better offense, better environment, all that good stuff. We've just seen so many flare-ups from this guy already. Between the two tight ends, I feel like Kraft is starting to, he's cooking, but Laporta is the one that I'm really leaning to here. We've now got I think it's 5 straight weeks of 6 or more targets. Yeah, 6, 6, 6, and 7, 4 straight weeks. And in 5 of his last 6, he has 6 or more targets. He's got double digits in, again, almost all but one of those games. So I am leaning Sam Laporta. And then I'm going to go Tyron Tracy for the running back, Jennings for the flex for sure there, Mr. Sarno. And then in terms of Burrow versus Hurts, oh, man, because you got that tough matchup with Pittsburgh on the docket. But I still I think I'm going to go with Burrow. I mean, Tennessee, are they really going to push the Bengals? Maybe. That defense is so bad. And you just look at Burrow. He's had 20 or more in 5 straight games, been a top 12 quarterback for all of them, been a top 3 quarterback in 4 of his last 5. I just got to keep riding that out. I know the matchup isn't great for Tennessee, for the Bengals against Tennessee here, but I just feel like that consistency is great. Whereas Hurts, tough matchup against Pittsburgh, and he's been outside of 20 points in all but 1 of his last 4 games. So, I look at how that's playing quarterback 15, 15, and 16, and then 4 this last week against Carolina, the easiest doormat defense. I'm just going to go with the track record of Burrow. It's tough, but I do have Burrow just a spot higher, and that is where I'm leaning Papa Sarno. So again, to summarize, Laporta, and then Guerendo and Jennings. Then Tracy and Jennings. Guerendo, I keep going back to that Tracy versus Guerendo, and if you're willing to stomach the risk, I do feel like Guerendo is just a better in terms of player, situation, and setup tonight. It's just that injury risk that has me a little bit hesitant given his career and history with those. And so I don't know, though, that Baltimore matchup is so tricky there. I'm going to lean with I'm going to go Guerendo. I'm going to ultimately pivot. I keep coming back to it. The heart says, the head is telling me it's not a great spot for Tracy against Baltimore. And I'm going to trust the gut. I'm going to go Guerendo. I'm going to go Jennings, and I'm going to go Burrow and Laporta. Sarno, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I greatly appreciate it. Our Cannabis coming in with a super chat. Thank you so much. And then we got a Matthew Blunt following up our Cannabis. What a 1-2 punch we got there. Our Cannabis saying, I have a lot, and this is your second super chat. Thank you so much, our Cannabis, for your support here. Elijah Moore, not DJ. Oh, it's Elijah Moore. So that does change things, and I apologize for not getting that right the first time. I'll type the question better. You're a veteran over here, our Cannabis. You know better. So in terms of that one, so let me go back to that first original question here. So we need Devonta Smith, Bounds, and then Elijah Moore, Vele, Westbrook. So that does change things. I think Devonta Smith is my favorite option. That remains the same here. Still definitely even more so going Tracy for the flex on that one now. And then ultimately, I'm leaning – Moore's had some really big games with Jameis. They should be chasing us the Chiefs, but it's not the best of matchups. Josh Downs, he's been solid in his last few games. With Richardson, I don't even think I have Downs ranked as of now because it just came out that he's practicing in full. So I'm going to just do a quick, where would Downs slide in here? It'd probably be right around Elijah Moore, Amari Cooper, Christian Watson, where I have E. Moore right now. I think I'm leaning Elijah Moore for that one, our Cannabis. Now, again, with double super chat, such a generous support of your boy. I know this one will lead into Sunday. There's no real Thursday night guys involved here. So if you don't already, our cannabis, if you follow me at Roto Street Wolf, shoot me a DM, say this is our cannabis, and we'll figure this one out for you. I just need to kind of gauge Downs a little bit more. It only came out today that he practiced in full, and I saw that about 3 minutes before going live. And I wasn't preparing much on Downs. I won't lie. I just know he's facing Denver. I know it's not great, but I know he also has played well these last few weeks with Anthony Richardson. So, yeah, I'm going to lean there. Josh Downs on the bench, and I'm going to go Elijah Moore and Devonta Smith as of right now with Tracy in the flex. And back to your second one. Speaking of tonight's game, though, should I start Purdy over Goff? The Rams are a juicy matchup. No, I mean, you got a 49.5 over under. You got Purdy cooking since he got himself back and healthy. The only game he struggled with this year was that snow game against Buffalo. And so, yes, 100%, I'm going to go Purdy. Obviously, we do like that Buffalo game for Goff. But I just look at Purdy, again, that 2-point game in Buffalo. Otherwise, 24, 20, 26, 24, 19, 2, 22. I mean, he's had 20 or more in all but one game in his last 8. It's been rock solid. And yes, the Rams are a juicy matchup, a mediocre secondary, mediocre pass rush at best, over under 49.5. Playoffs on the line for both of these teams. I love Purdy there. So yes, 100%, I'm going Brock Purdy over Goff. Love that one. Lee Walker, thank you so much for your support and for the super chat. Half PPR, need one. DJ Moore, JSN, or Guerendo. Woo-hoo. Great options. I love JSN right now. And I'll admit it, I'm biased because I have him on my squad. But he's just been rock solid. It's biased, but I was not a huge JSN guy. I won't lie about it. And I kind of ended up with him like $3-4 in the auction. Like, oh man, like, okay. I did not expect that he would only go for $4. And here he was on my roster. I almost was going to cut him. We had that 4-point dud against Atlanta. I was like, if he can't do it against Atlanta, when's this going to happen? Then he had an okay day, 10-point half PPR day. And then since then, 34, 17, 17, 10, and 17, remarkably consistent. Do you want 17 points? Yup. Okay, I'll go with JSN. So I like JSN. Just a little more. Guerendo, of course, again, is the ceiling play. I'm not going to go to DJ Moore. That offense is too congested for a quarterback that's just not that good in Caleb Williams right now. The matchup with Minnesota, lovely. It's great stuff. And DJ Moore is a fine play. He had 23 points against Minnesota in half PPR just a few weeks ago. So can he get it done? Yeah, he could. Do I fully want to trust that? No. And then Guerendo, we keep mentioning the rock solid upside. Anytime he's played 50% or more of the snaps have been 26.2 and then 19.5. The guy's been rock solid. It's just, is he going to, how long do you get it for tonight? You get a full game and you're going to get 25 points. You get a quarter, you might get 3 points. And so to me, JSN's kind of like the medium balance of the floor risk. Just, we know he's got a 30-point ceiling, probably going to get you 17. I feel good about JSN, just riding that train and sticking with it. The way they've elevated his role, giving him more vertical work, it just feels right to me. JSN just feels right, baby. Tough matchup against Green Bay, but without Jair Alexander, it's not that scary. And then Matthew Blunt, tossing $5. I'm not seeing the question attached, so I'm going to quickly scan for you, Matthew Blunt, here, and try to find where that's at. But thank you guys so much. Such a generous Thursday. The playoffs have people feeling extra generous, extra spicy here this week. So I'm just going to find my guy here, Matthew Blunt. And not because your name is just Blunt, because you supported your boy, but I do support that too. I do see go with Isaiah over Elon. Probably Braylon. That's what he's getting at. Man, I'm not finding this one. Oh, there it is. Hey, man, first time. There it is. Okay, gotcha, Matthew Blunt. And welcome to the show. First time. Awesome to see it. If you enjoy what you're hearing, if you're like Matthew, it's your first time, please do consider subscribing to the channel. We go live multiple times a week to answer your questions, to help you out. And I'm glad that you're enjoying it. And thank you again, Matthew. Your first time here and you're tossing $5. Very generous of you. Greatly appreciate it. Let's dive into what we got here for you. What's your opinion on Braylon Allen versus Isaiah Davis? Or should I grab Jaylen Warren and stay away from this situation? So I would not stay away from the situation. I mean, of course, if Breece Hall ends up playing, then yeah, I don't want either of Braylon Allen or Isaiah Davis. But they already have kind of the comments and read the tea leaves. It seems like Breece Hall is not trending the right way. They said not good I believe was the exact words from Ulbrich, that coach over there. So I ultimately, it doesn't seem like Brees is going to play. Yeah, the Jags, second most points allowed to running backs on the year. Just in general, most points allowed to quarterbacks, like most points allowed to receivers, second most running backs. That tells you everything you need to know. They are a god-awful, piss-poor defense. And so it does matter. And yeah, Jaylen Warren, sure, talent, love the guy. One of the most efficient backs in the league last year. Haven't quite seen that guy this year, but still very intriguing talent. The usage just hasn't been there. It's been far more often the Najee Harris show. And that makes me a little worried about Jaylen Warren this week. And they need a Philly matchup, a tough D front there. So do I want the lesser half of the committee or do I want the potential lead back? So I'm leaning into that situation there with Jalen, rather the Jet situation. And so I'll go with that. Now it's which Jets running back do we prefer? We've got now 2 weeks with Isaiah Davis scoring. And so to me, he seems to be like the initial first glance would be, okay, yeah, Isaiah Davis is the one you probably want in your lineup. But I don't think that's the case. I do think he's a top 30 running back play. I'm looking at my rankings. I have him below Jaylen Warren right now, but he scored 11-14. I loved him as a prospect, Davis, the Jackrabbits, coming out there. D1AA. Saw him face my Holy Cross Crusaders in the tournament last year. This kid lit it up. Unbelievable running back. Not that you should be making decisions based on who performs well against Holy Cross, but the kid can ball, and now we're seeing at the NFL level too. Good receiver, 3-down skill set, good burst. Really, the vision is what stands out to me with Isaiah Davis. Really, really big fan of him. Nonetheless, he still played roughly 45% to the 55% of snaps of Braylon Allen. It just so happened that he was the one to break that touchdown, but Braylon Allen has had multiple moments this year where he has looked incredibly explosive. We're talking 230 pounds, 6'2", like huge guy that, in his glimpses has looked phenomenal too. And I don't think it's a lock that Isaiah Davis is suddenly a touchdown scorer in the vulture here when you got a beast the size of Braylon. It is a split backfield. It is a committee. But if I'm taking a committee back, I want the lead back in the better matchup, not the second back like Jaylen Warren in a worse matchup there. So it does come down to which one of Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis you prefer. Blunt, what I'm going to do is just quickly pull up one of my favorite tools is the utilization hub over at Fantasy Life. Dwayne McFarland kind of coined this one, and it's such a great tool. And so what I'm just going to quickly do for your question, because it's a great it's a very important backfield. I'm going to pull up you can do a game log look, and I'm just going to do a quick look at the Jets backfield just so I get the exact snaps. I think it was 55-45, but that is not, especially for a super chat. I want to make sure to get the exact data for you. And so we're going to the Jets, not receivers, running backs. And I'm seeing Braylon Allen, 56% of the snaps, 55% of the rush. Damn, I guess I got to give myself more credit on these. And then we had Isaiah Davis for 52% of the snaps, 45% of the rush attempts. So they were on the field. There's a couple times I do remember pointing this out too to my brother. Wishbone off as they separated. They were on both sides of him. So both guys were mixing in. It was Braylon to get the slight lead. Ultimately, 12.1 PPR points for Braylon, 15.7 for Davis. So yeah, Davis got the scores there. But I lean just a little bit. I mean, Davis did get 16% of the targets too. It's not like he was a nobody. It was a very close to dead even split. I just still slightly lean as much as I did like Isaiah Davis as a prospect. It just sucks too. Like both these great prospects love Braylon Allen, and they both go to play behind Breece Hall. Why couldn't they have just gone to the Cowboys? One of these two, somewhere with an open backfield, right? But I ultimately do lean Braylon Allen. Slight edge on the workload, slight edge in talent, I think. And either way, I think both these guys are going to get there. I think both of them outscore Jaylen Warren this week either way. But I do lean slightly towards Braylon Allen, myself, Matthew Blunt. Thank you so much again for the super chat. And I think you double super chatted here after I had found you here. Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, or Jaylen Warren. So the double super chat there. So, love that one. Great question, Matthew Blunt. Great backfield to dive into. I am leaning Braylon Allen very slightly over Isaiah Davis, over Jaylen Warren as the third option. But of course, if Breece Hall plays, all bets are off, and I'm pivoting back to Warren in that case. But thank you again, Matthew, so much for the super chat and for the double super chat to get your question up there. But thank you again. And thank you for being here for the first time. I hope this answer helps you out. Hopefully you come back. And everybody else out there, that does wrap up the super chats for now. So I am going to go in the order we received them. Just a reminder to please not repeat your questions. I do love also hearing where you guys are coming in from. It is so cool to see where the reach of the Roto Street is expanding to. So if you don't mind commenting, hey, this is Papa Sarno from Beverly, Mass, wherever you are, I greatly appreciate it. But please, I will answer them in the order they come. If there are repeats, I will not answer those questions. You'll be put in timeout. And so we don't want those repeat situations there. Papa Sarno, what's up, brother? And you already super chatted this one, but just as a reminder, and thank you again for your support. I ultimately pivoted to Guerendo, then Jennings for sure for the flex, and then for the I think he had a tight end as part of that, which was I went Laporta, and then I went Burrow. So yeah, you put all your questions into one there. And thank you again for your super chat. What's up, Buckman? Good to see you, brother. Teach your friends over there. We're united in our battles. Murray or Herbert? I'm leaning Herbert. You got Tampa Bay. Second, I think it's the second or third most points at this. I know Jags are the most. I believe Tampa Bay is right behind them at number 2. If not, I know they're top 5. Always been a great spot for your quarterbacks this year. So I love going Herbert today. Hall is probably out. So is it Stevenson, Davis, or McCormick? I am leaning Stevenson. Stevenson really has taken over the Patriots backfield. Gibson had a few carries last time, looked pretty good in them too, but I do think Stevenson is the man there. Arizona, a very soft defense. I mean, we just saw them get absolutely steamrolled all Sunday. And sure, we've got a few bad games. Happy PR for Ramondre. 22-20, awesome. 8, 11, fine. 3 was bad against Miami, but then 11 against Indy the next week. And what I more so look at is 20, 10, 20, 20, 8, 18. Huge workloads in 4 out of those 6 games. And you look at the snap share, right around 70% or higher in almost all of those as well. So, yeah, I'm leaning Ramondre there. Just safer bet for the volume. I may be intrigued by this McCormick kid. The fact that they already named him the starter for the rest of the season, they're going to give this guy his real shot. And that's the type of story where they end up panning out. But I go Ramondre there. And then flex one of those running backs or Jameson Williams. I can see your next comment. Starting Wilson and Jennings, I totally agree at receiver over that. I would probably go JMO in that shootout game against Buffalo. The volume he's seeing is solid. Those other running backs, Davis and McCormick, intrigue me, no doubt, but way more upside to Jameson Williams in my opinion there. Defense, Denver or Baltimore? 2 top 3 options there, Mr. Buckman. I have Baltimore 2 and Denver 3. But I go against Tommy DeVito anytime I possibly can. And Buckman, last one with the weather. Do I replace Moody with another kicker? So I haven't seen, is the weather that bad there? I would replace Moody anyways, just because he's not that good. He buried me in week 1, so maybe I'm holding some resentment. But I had him last year, and he ruined quite a few matchups for me. He's not somebody I trust. And I mean, who do you like this week? I have kicker rankings on the site, Buckman, rotostreetjournal.com. You can find my rankings there. I've seen Fairbairn dropped because of their bye last week. Boswell, Aubrey, Matthew Wright, the kicker for the Chiefs, even though it seems like Butker could potentially come back. But, Reichard is out there in a ton of leagues for the Vikings. He's also a great option. On or Ingram. Seems like Ingram might not be playing, Buckman. So this might be a question. But if it is a question and both are in, I'd probably do lean slightly to Ingram. J Money 201092 QB Purdy or Herbert. We did no, never mind. I thought another super chat popped in, so I was gonna cut the line, but nope, we're still going just in the order that we received them, which is obviously great. I would go Jauan Jennings definitely over DJ Moore. Again, we talked about him at the top of the store. He is a must start for me at this point of the season. I'm a huge fan of Jauan Jennings. Led the team in targets for now 5 straight weeks. Ultimately, he's had 5 games since Ayuk went out. 3 of those games, really 4 games with Purdy, but 1 was a blizzard. In those 3 games, 16.5, 21.5, and 28 fantasy points in those games. Just rock solid consistency from Jauan. So I'm leaning there, and I'm going to stack him up with Purdy, I think, in that case. Let it rip in a shootout game tonight, Jay Mooney. Wolf, from my man Levi, what's up? If Breece Hall's out, would you start Braylon Allen or Ramondre? I'd go Braylon with that matchup against the Jags. I know it's more of a committee, but I just trust Braylon Allen against the Jags, that he's just going to run wild in that one. Levi. Yo, so Tony, Njoku sitting, it seems likely, not even just possible, probably likely. And he's screwed me over, Yo, so Tony. I have him in my main league, giving me a complete and utter headache. I like Hunter Henry there. I probably prefer Henry to Ertz. I wish I had either of those options. I sure don't. I'm looking at like Noah Gray, Stone Smart, whatever that type of creature is. It's getting pretty ugly for me, Yo, so Tony. So I like Hunter Henry, I think, for this one. He's been one of the lead targets, if not the number one target for Drake May in nearly all these starts. I mean, but Ertz, though, these last few weeks, he has been really, really cooking. 16, 13, and 11 for Ertz. I'm pivoting, Yo, so I'm going to Ertz. I have him higher in the rankings come to peek at it. I go with Ertz, especially in full PPR too. A lot of dink and dunk going to him. Yo, Soy, another one. Flex Pacheco or Tracy. Thanks, Wolf. Smash the like, fellas. Indeed, if you're out there enjoying what you're hearing, we're right around 400 of you. Thank you so much for being here. Please do consider that thumbs up button. Keep getting us out to more people. It is so, so greatly appreciated. For this one, I am leaning Pacheco, I think. I am worried about this Baltimore matchup. I don't know. Maybe I'm freaking out. I think I'm going to pivot to Deebo over Tracy myself. But it was good to see 14 carries for Isaiah Pacheco last week compared to Kareem Hunt, which was almost a non-factor. I'll just quickly pull that one up, Kansas City Chiefs, because I wanted to study Pacheco myself. I've got a lot of DMs on him. Just 21% of the rush attempts for Kareem Hunt, 58% for Isaiah Pacheco. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Only 8 PPR points, but Tracy's just been pretty rock solid. You know he can catch the rock. A Tommy DeVito offense is like, what are we even doing here? Who would have thought we'd be clamoring for the day of Daniel Jones? 7 points for Tracy last time out with Tommy DeVito. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning Pacheco there, Yo Soy. I want to love Tracy, I do, but not in that one. What's up, Riley? Full PPR, 2 receivers, 1 flex. Jennings, Deebo, MHJ, Elijah Moore, NWI Vele, Kendre Miller, Gus, and Sear. If Walker doesn't play, how should I play that? So, Walker's an easy toss into the flex if he does play, but let's assume he's out. You're clearly playing Jennings. I'd say MHJ is your number 2 in this situation. And I know I talked about Deebo, didn't love Deebo, but, he's probably the next man up for me here. And it's tricky with 2 49ers. Again, I'm debating Deebo versus Tyrone Tracy myself. I don't know which way I'm going to go. I don't love it either way. I'd probably play Deebo, Jennings, MHJ here. Which does make it tricky because then it's like, can you wait it out for Ken Walker if you've already played 2 of your spots there? And McCormick's the only other one, Sincere, that does intrigue me slightly, but just not enough, not on a bad Raiders team to go above these guys. All righty, and then we move on to Krana coming in with some questions. Cup or Sutton PPR, Hurts or Purdy. So I would go Cup over Sutton in a full PPR. Really any scoring. I know Sutton, rock solid, in the top, I want to say 5 wide receivers right now since that 0-point dud. Absolutely face planted, but then he has been on an absolute tear. It's still Cooper Cup for me, though. Good matchup, shootout game. Love it. Hurts or Purdy. I do lean Hurts. Purdy is intriguing, especially in a 6-point pass TD, Krana. That scoring difference might be enough to put him over the edge. Because the tush push is really where Hurts gets so much value, but when that is equal to a pass touchdown, Purdy's the better bet to throw for 2 to 3 touchdowns. I kind of like Purdy in that scoring, Krana. And then we got Baker, Kyler, Darnold, or Nick's 6-point pass touchdown. You're in all these 6-point passing touchdowns. What is this? I lean in that one. Probably Baker. He's just been lights out all year. So I'm going to go Baker, I'm going to go Purdy, and I'm going to go Kupp. Jennings or Shakir? I lean Jennings for sure, and I lean Jennings over Keenan Allen. And then Krana asking, dropped Walker for Chuba? Oh, I don't know. We'll see. If Walker comes back, is there no one else you could have dropped? Charbonnet looks great, and maybe it's an ugly committee the rest of the year, but dropping Ken Walker and an opponent using him against you could be a haunting, sleepless situation. Here, Krana. I don't know that I'm worried about Pollard playing right now. I just kind of like B-Rob. No Eckler, running back 10 last time out. Good matchup here. I'm leaning Brian Robinson. I mean, the Chiefs, the Saints have just been getting absolutely brutalized. One last one for Krana. Pick 2 PPR. Metcalf, Myers, Jennings, MHJ. So you can see the common theme here, Krana. I'm going Jennings all the time. And then I think I am leaning probably all these guys are right in the same tier. So I think maybe Metcalf, but Myers seems very intriguing. It's just like, is Desmond Ridder his quarterback? Ew. I really do like Judy, actually, with Njoku probably out too. Just like Tillman's going to be back, and he was the one until all this happened. So give me Jennings, give me Metcalf in that case, Krana. Katie Jagir, thank you so much for the super chat. Regularly super chatting you, guy. Thank you so much, cuz. Greatly appreciate it, Katie. Or should I say Keen? When have I ever called you Katie? The most wonderful time of the year, indeed. Let's go, Keen. And I know last week you had the playoffs on the line, so I imagine things came through last week. I hope so. And either way, you must be alive somewhere. So let's go. Is this in the family league, I imagine? Great battle we've had coming down the stretch here in that nice restful bye in the family league for your boy over here at the top of his throne. So we need a PPR flex. Thomas Jr., Shakir, Pollard, Guerendo. And do I play one of them over Geno in the super flex? Great question, Keen. I mean, it's tempting. It's especially in a full PPR. Geno hasn't been all that good. I have such a hard time ever sitting a quarterback in a super flex because it's not like any of these guys can't outscore Geno. But like when you got a quarterback option, it's just you're gonna get 13. And I know that sounds pathetic. Like if I'm starting my quarterback and I'm getting 13 points, what the hell? And Geno these last few weeks, it's been kind of it since the bye week. 17, 13, 12, and 13. Ugh. No higher than quarterback 19. So I get why you're asking. I certainly think Thomas, Guerendo all have higher ceilings than 13. Shakir certainly does in a full PPR. You got some really, really good options here, Katie. This is a very tough one. This might be the hardest one I've gotten yet tonight. It's one of those scary ones where they can all blow up and they could all bottom out. Pollard is the interesting one here because you guaranteed me health. You guaranteed me he's playing. I probably go him against Cincinnati, but limited in practice, not even limited, not practicing right now with the ankle injury. And we've seen this before where he doesn't end up practicing and then he ends up playing. But he wasn't, I don't know. That sketches me out. And of course you have to decide tonight with Guerendo. And I love Guerendo tonight. Part of my gut's just saying, like, let him rip. Let him play tonight. Then you got Shakir, though, in that, like, possible shootout game, likely shootout game if against the Lions. That seems like a very fun atmosphere that I want to get as many pieces that I can in. Thomas is probably the riskiest. So, 5 of 8 targets, 106 yards and the touchdown for Shakir. Nice 21 there in full PPR. Man. And then you got Brian Thomas, who 12 targets last week from Mac Jones, and now Ingram's banged up a little bit. Keen, this is such a tough one. The Jets matchup I don't love, but Sauce is banged up. He might not be playing. I guess he's practicing in a limited fashion, so he's at 19 and 17 his last two. I mean, Keen, it's kind of crazy, but like This is what I think I would do in your shoes. I think I'd get Guerendo in tonight. Again, we've talked about him. I know you came a little late, or you just waited to do your super chat, whatever it might be. But we talked about Guerendo. He's seen 50% or more snaps in 2 games this year. He's got 26 in one of them. He's got 19 and a half in the other. Running back 10 and running back 2. It's Kyle Shanahan's scheme is beautiful, and this guy is a freak athlete, and he's using that scheme. It opens up the lane, and he's got the speed to just rip right through it. The risk, of course, is that even dating back to college, he gets banged up so often. And there's such real risk of him like getting banged up tonight and then being out. But I feel like I play him. I hope I get my 20. It's not a bad matchup against the Rams. Top 10 matchup, in fact. And then I like one of these other guys over Geno in the Superflex. We read the stats, but 12, 13, 12, outside the top 20 quarterbacks. I know the floor is nice, but this time of the year, especially if you're an underdog, it's like I want to go for the ceiling. And part of me here is like any of those other 3 options have a much higher ceiling than what Geno's been doing. Green Bay's not a great matchup. I'm leaning Guerendo and in a full PPR, I think Shakir in that likely just shootout style game. But I feel like we got to get Guerendo in there because Pollard might not be playing. And I'm going to go Guerendo in there tonight, Keen. And then I probably go Shakir as the other full PPR option, and I bench Geno. Great options. Very tough question. Thank you so much again for your support, and I greatly appreciate it. Every week you've been coming in, Keen. So thank you so much. We had our Cannabis saying, "Evening Wolf." Thank you again for your super chats. Our Cannabis, so generous of you. Tomas Medina over there in Panama. Buenos tardes, Lobo. What's it in Spanish for? I think it's lunes, martes, miércoles, viernes, domingo. No, viernes is Friday. What the hell is miércoles? Thursday? I don't even remember. But let's get to your question. PPR. Guerendo, Tracy, Waddle, Jambo, Marv. We need 2 of them. So I'm going Guerendo for sure. And then I think I'm going Waddle in a full PPR here, Tomas. Carl Nathan over from London. Great to see you, Carl. Over there, staring at Big Ben and the Wolf at the same time. PPR, choose 1 running back. Allen if Brees is out versus Davis versus Harris. I'm leaning Braylon. I'm leaning one of whichever choice you have for the Jets. Me personally, I think it's Braylon Allen. Pick 2 receivers and a flex. London versus BTJ versus Shakir versus Sutton versus Addison. This is for 2-week first round playoff. Let's go, Carl. And it's such a fun setting too. I've played in a couple leagues with that. And I do love it. Like there's pros and cons to each. I love the like one and done, just so much is on the line. But I also love that, hey, you could dud and then your team could explode the next week and you're not fully done yet type of situation too. So I'm leaning London and Sutton. Man, like, and then you give me these 3 of BTJ, Addison, and Shakir, and it's like all these guys have the huge ceilings. Addison in particular lately, where Shakir has that nice baked-in floor with a little ceiling, not the ceiling of the other 2, but like a little ceiling. I think I'm leaning London, Sutton, Shakir for those options there. Mahomes versus Herbert, please and thank you. Thank you for your kind manners, Carl. I go Herbert over Mahomes. That Tampa matchup is too juicy. Giuseppe, playoff time, baby. Indeed, let's go. Needs Hunter Henry or Jake Ferguson. I'm going Jake Ferguson. Cooper Rush is playing solid enough ball right now. Carolina, the number 1 matchup for tight ends. Give me Fergie. Then we got Jake Elliott or Reichert for Giuseppe. I got to go Reichert with the way Elliott has the yips these days. No, thank you. And then Seb. What's up, Seb? Stafford and Jordan Love, full PPR. Breaking my head with this decision. That is a tough call, Seb. Man. I think I'm leaning Jordan Love here. I mean, Stafford, again, the 49.5 over under. I love it. Coming off a 21-point day, QB9 last week. Love it. He's been pretty hot, Stafford. I think I'm a little too low on the rankings, come to look at it. Since Puka came back, 28, 19, 16, and 21. And in that same 4-game stretch, I know there's not the same matchups, but Jordan Love, these last 4 weeks, 21, 15, 19, 15. It is. I see why your head's breaking. I kind of want to go Stafford here. Again, I love this game environment. I like the Rams tonight. So I got to make sure I'm updating these rankings, but I'm leaning Stafford over Love here, Seb. So I'm pulling up the rankings to make sure I can update these bad boys. K-Ball, a full PPR, Addison or Guerendo. One of my good friends has this exact decision, K-Ball, and I told him Guerendo. I can't say I feel incredible about it. You know, Addison has just been absolutely killing it. Man, that's a tough one. I'm going Guerendo, though. I'm leaning with the running back there, K-Ball. Giuseppe Russo. Pick 2 receivers, PPR, Adams, Jay Jettas, Thielen, J-Mo, Pickens if he plays, or Amari Cooper. I would lean. I mean, you got to play Jay Jet. Come on. Like, let's not even ask that one, Giuseppe. It's really down to one receiver. And it doesn't seem like Pickens is going to play. I'm probably going to go Devontae here. That beautiful matchup against the Jags, you know, seeing 13-ish targets a week. Yeah, I'm leaning Devontae. As tempting as Thielen is, though, you know. But yeah, I got to go Devontae. Non-PPR, he has Ingram for Randy Malik. Is he droppable straight up, or at least a sit in favor of Jauan Johnson, Stone Smart, Noah Gray, or Dalton Schultz, Randy? I mean, it's so tricky I don't play any non-PPR. I always have at least half. So it's always tough to try to wrap my brain around like getting no reception points. But that, of course, is probably the biggest part of Evan Ingram game, right? So I still, though, like, look at these options you're tossing out here. Jauan Jennings Jauan Johnson, rather. Jauan Jennings, I love. Jauan Johnson with Rattler, no. Stone Smart, intriguing 1.5, but like, and it's good for the Bucks. I see the matchup. Who the hell is Stone Smart? Like, I don't think so. Noah Gray, multiple 2-touchdown days on the year, but obviously a distant second behind Kelsey. Dalton Schultz, no way. For me, I think it comes down to Gray versus Ingram. And in a non-PPR where touchdowns are the priority, I probably do go Noah Gray, I guess, Randy. I don't know. That's tough. Thoughts on D? Asked Twain, talk to him. You mean Deebo? Who we talked about greasy, or rather squeaky. Will the grease come? All the comments say it will come. Will Deebo do anything when they come? That's the biggest question I have because he hasn't all year. Again, very similar usage to last year, and he's dropped from the wide receiver 12 in fantasy points per game to the wide receiver 48. I'm nervous about it, but I also know he's killed the Rams in the past. He's motivated. Part of me feels like it's a Deebo blow-up night, and it scares the crap out of me that he's on my bench. Need 3 of them in half PPR. Pacheco, Ramondre, DK, BTJ. I do think the 2 receivers are the best 2 options here, Nick, so I'm going definitely DK, BTJ. And I think I'm leaning Pacheco slightly over Ramondre. We got 350-ish of you here. Lighter Thursday night for the playoffs. Let's go. Please do consider that thumbs up button on YouTube, the heart button on Twitter, whatever you're doing on Facebook. I see a shocked face coming in. Love it. Any reactions are gratefully appreciated. Thank you guys again so much for being here. Lee Walker, half PPR, pick one. DJ Moore, JSN, or Guerendo. Got to go JSN is where I'm leaning. Oh, you super chat that one there, Lee. So, yeah, JSN is the guy I'm going. Thoughts on Deebo, Marv, Zach Charbs, or Jacoby Myers in my flex? So, I think, Twain, I got to hold out here. So, like, Deebo versus Marv, I might lean Deebo over, Marv. Him versus Myers, pretty close. The big thing here is Zach Charbs. Like, if Walker sits, you saw it. What do you have, 38 points last week? I want to give myself a chance at that. And so I do think it's worth passing on Deebo for right now. As much upside as I think he has tonight, you might be squirming in your chair as he goes off. And I look at the rest of your lineup, and I'm not benching any of those guys. I think it's worth it to see if Charbs is going to be the guy if Walker sits. If Walker sits and Charbs is the guy, he's a top 10 running back. That's better than anything by a mile. Otherwise, these guys are all pretty close. So I don't feel like I'm dying by missing on Deebo when you have Myers and Marv to fall back on. I'd probably go to Marv over Myers, but it's close. It's more so the Desmond Ridder effect there, Twain. Brian Marshall, start Love or Stafford? Yeah, so we were just talking about this one. It's a brain buster. I'm going Stafford over Love, and I made that change in the rankings right now. I have Jameis above both, by the way, for what it's worth. But I do like Stafford a lot tonight. My man Pass the Mic Karaoke, killing it as always, brother. Thank you so much, sir. First week of playoffs, first flex question. Cup, Judy, Guerendo. I got to go Cooper Cup there, Pass the Mic. Absolutely. Love me some Cup. Can't bench him right now. Bigsby or Sincere for Oliver. I go Sincere. I don't like the Jags running game at all. Jauan 1. Richardson, Caleb, Winston or Herbert. Need to stream one. I like Herbert there. Again, that Tampa Bay matchup is so ripe. I love that one. Pass the Mic, killing it as usual. Appreciate it twice. Pass the Mic. Cup, Judy, Jennings, Guerendo. Adding a few more options in here. A lot of decisions, and I still think Cup is your best one there. Emiliano Gonzalez. Start 2 running backs, 2 receivers, 1 flex. So your whole lineup, essentially Emiliano. Henry, Kyron. Here's your 2 running backs. Kamara, maybe your flex. Let's see. CD and Evans, definitely the 2 receivers. You're asking about guys you don't need to ask about, Emiliano. I think this question should have been boiled down to 1 flex and my tight end. And Jauan Jennings, Cooper Kupp, Kamara. It should have been the question. For tight end, I'm going Tucker Kraft. So your flex comes down to Jauan, Kupp, and Kamara. Kamara didn't practice today. This might be the shutdown point of the year, given the quarterback situation. So he makes me nervous. I think I go Kupp very, very slightly over Jauan Jennings. I love Jauan. But I think I like Kupp just a little bit more, Emiliano. That's where I'm leaning. So Matthew Blunt suggesting Isaiah over Braylon. Maybe. I prefer Braylon, but so far the touchdowns have gone to Davis. But I lean with Braylon. Need to start 3 of 4. Kupp, Jennings, McLaurin, or Evans. So we're benching 1. I'm playing Kupp, I'm playing Jennings, and I'm playing Evans. I'm benching McLaurin, Andrew Christopherson. Yeah, I picked him up anywhere I didn't draft him, but I drafted him in 80% of leagues. I own him in 100% of leagues. There's truly not a league I don't have Bucky in, and it's the best feeling in the world. I just need him to get healthy. Don't love these reports of his back's tightening up, man. Come on, get healthy. Carry me to the championship where you get Carolina. Oh, he could be a monster. Come on, Bucky. You got this, brother. King Retros. I have Denver and Tampa D. Is it worth dropping Tampa for Charb? Oh, yeah. Yes. How is Charb out there, King Retros? You just saw a 38-point day. Of course. And Tampa sucks. And Dallas and Carolina are not the matchups they were. Absolutely. Yes. Please, now, turn the stream off. Go pick up Charbs. Then come back. You have to do that. Juwan, London, Wilson, St. Brown, pick 2. St. Brown, 110%. And then I think Juwan is my next one up there. For the record, too, I know I went Kupp over Juwan. I have Kupp 13 and Juwan 14. Couldn't be more close. Forever Eagles. Sup, man? Sup, dude? Have 2 flex options. Currently have Judy and Rashad White. Should I change anything? I have Braylon Allen, ETN, MBS, or Jake Ferg. So Darnold or Mahomes. I go Darnold over Mahomes. Mahomes in fantasy is just a trash bag. Best quarterback in real life that clutch drives right now, I guess. Ultimately sucks in fantasy. And then I guess it's just a kind of a wait and see Forever Eagles, because if Bucky sits, Rashad's a top 10 running back. If Bucky plays and Brees sits, I'd rather have Braylon in my lineup. I'll tell you this, it's never going to be ETN, MBS, or Ferg. I think MBS is cuttable with the quarterback situation there. ETN sucks. Ferg, you're not putting him in over these. So, yeah, I think we have a bit to decide here. I would say it is boiled down to Judy, Rashad White, and Braylon, how this news pans out. I would say right now, I would have Judy and Rashad White in, like you do. I would say if Bucky's in and Brees is out, I flip-flop Braylon and Rashad White. If Bucky's out and Brees is out, I probably bench Judy of these options. But right now, I'd keep it how you have it, and we play the news there forever. Share, like, and subscribe. People, let's get this man a 5K before the end of the year. Hey, I love that. We are climbing. We're at like 4,500. It would be a huge, insane push for the playoffs. But, man, maybe we can make it to 5K on the year, Giuseppe. I'd love to see it. Please do consider, if you're new around here, hitting that sub button and helping us push over the edge. Sports Productions asks, Cortland, Sutton, or Guerendo? Oh, that's a backbreaker. I feel like Sutton is probably the play here. Again, like the Guerendo upside, 19.2, 26 point. I keep repeating the stats. It's beautiful. He's only played 2 games, about 50% snaps. He's been a top 10 running back in both of them. So I can't deny the upside. It's just we've seen him get injured already at the pro level so much. It was the reason he couldn't break out in college. And then you look at Sutton, and especially in full PPR, I mean, since that 0-point dud, 17, 23, 19, 15, 30, 16. I mean, come on. The lowest was 15, 11, 10, 9, 8, 10, 9 targets. Oh, I got to go Sutton there, Sports. Full PPR for Jordan Peeler play. Guerendo or Kyron? I got to go Kyron. I mean, 2 touchdowns last time out. Rock solid for the past 2 years. Just not the risk. London, 27 targets in the last total in 2 weeks. Yeah, I mean, he's getting the volume. It's just Kirk Cousins sucks is the issue, Levi, which is risky. Raven for life, that's what terrifies me, is the 30 burger from Deebo, because I totally believe in it too. I just don't know, is this Deebo, the current rendition of Deebo that we've been seeing the past 4 weeks, is that Deebo capable of 30 points anymore? He doesn't look like the Deebo of the past. So it takes 2 to tango. It takes volume, and it takes the player to actually maximize the volume. And again, he's averaging right around the same amount of touches that he did last year. He's just gone from the wide receiver 12 to the wide receiver 48 in terms of his efficiency. So, yeah, maybe he does. And it terrifies me because he's on my bench, Raven, but I don't know. Emiliano Gonzalez, full PPR. Start 2 running backs, 2 receivers, 1 flex, 1 tight. Oh, we already answered this one. Set your whole lineup question. A lot of repeats here. Stop repeating, guys. Have Jauan Jennings and Tyreek Hill and Sutton as a flex. Love that. On the bench, 2 possible booms. I do like Thielen a lot. I do like DJ Moore a lot, Samuel. But I'm still riding the 3 that you have over those 2 all day. And then 1 running back, Pacheco, Tracy, or Walker. If Walker plays, it's him. If not, I go Pacheco. Blunt. Oh, yeah, you already super chatted this one. Hussein, I'm sorry, but maybe you're new around here. I don't answer these types of repeats. Like, way too many repeats here. Horrendous. So I know you wanted an answer, but you repeated your question 15 times. It's disrespectful to everybody else in the chat. We don't do that. Cole Johnson, Guerrero, or Thielen? I'm playing Purdy and Jennings. Not sure if stacking that many. I don't think stacking this game up is a bad idea at all. I play Guerendo over Thielen. And I'm happy to play Purdy and Jennings. I'm happy to stack them all up. Guerendo can receive as well, a 14% targets per out run, like solid stuff there. Emiliano, repeating yourself. I regret answering that one. Saints starting quarterback, Jake Haener, week 15. News just broke. Does this help Kamara and their offense? They both suck, Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener. I don't think so. Maybe he's more prone to check it down. We don't really know. We know what Rattler was, and it wasn't great for the offense, so I guess it can't be much worse, but it might not be much better. I don't expect it to be much better than ET. So I don't think it does much. I don't think it really illuminates much for us. Would you start Patrick Taylor or Worthy? I can't start Patrick Taylor with Guerendo playing. He would have been a great flex Peyton had Guerendo sat. But at this point, I'd rather just go for the deep bomb, and Cleveland gives up a lot of big plays. So I'm going with Worthy there. All righty. Oh, we did have a few super chats pop up here. My apologies, Harry Taylor. You went back-to-back super chats. It did not pop up on my radar, but I just saw in the star thing it went up. Where's Campanelli when you need him? The moderator taking the playoffs off? Come on, Camper. We got full PPR. Chuba, B-Rob, Jay Taylor, Connor, or Daddle needs 3. Is this related to this? And then this is a separate one for Harry. So a double super chat. Thank you so much, Harry, for your support of the boy here. And sorry that took me about 5 minutes to find these ones. I would say As long as that's Chuba and not Chubb. Definitely not Chubb. Assuming it's Chuba, I think I like Chuba and Connor and B-Rob the most. Taylor's been underwhelming all year. Denver's not a good matchup. Dowell, you got Carolina, the best possible matchup, so that's tough to pass up on. But Chuba against Dallas, the third best matchup, rather. The Jags are the second. Oh, man. B-Rob gets New Orleans, a beautiful matchup. Fresh off an 18-point day, running back 12. Dowdle himself, though, looking real solid. 21 and 15 the past two. You got great options here, my guy. I feel like Chuba against Dallas with no Brooks right now is just too juicy to pass up. 21, 25, 15, that one dud against Tampa Bay, and then 21 again. I mean, he's been rock solid. I'm going to go Chuba, Connor, and B-Rob over Dowdle. Very, very slightly hairy, but I don't know if you can lose there. But either way, I think I'm benching Taylor. And, wow, what great options you have. But, yeah, Chuba, B-Rob, I would rank them Chuba, then Connor, then B-Rob, then Dowdle. So that ends up being Chubb. You would just go to, again, Connor, B-Rob, Dowdle. But if it's Chuba, you're going Chuba, Connor, B-Rob is how I lean Harry. And then full PPR, Jacobs, Connor. You are just the running back hoarder over here, Harry Taylor. I got to go for this one. Ooh. I'm leaning Gibbs. I mean, you got to go H-An. He's the number one here. Josh Jacobs has had, 20 plus in 6 of the last 7, I think it is. 23, 29, 22, 25, 20, 26, 113-point day. Yeah, I mean, animal. You got to go Jacobs, got to go H-An, got to go Gibbs. You're benching Connor, which is absolutely asinine when you got a great matchup against the New England Pats, but Gibbs against Buffalo, shootout game, top 5 matchup for running backs, Buffalo is. I'm Ryan H-An, Gibbs, and Jacobs there. What great options you have, though, Harry. Rubbing it all in our face, brother, aren't you? Thank you so much, though, for the support, the double super chat, Harry. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. All righty. And thank you so much, everybody else out there. We are hitting about 8 o'clock, so in about 5 minutes, I will go into rapid-fire mode to try to get to every question before kickoff. But please do another plea for that thumbs up button, the like, the heart, the retweet, and, of course, subscribe if you are new to the channel. We'd love to get towards 5K on the rest of the season. Would you start Kincaid or Ferguson? I'm going Ferguson, number one matchup for tight ends. Kincaid's been garbage all year, Peyton. Armando, not sure if this was answered, but how are we feeling about Guerendo? It's been answered a bunch, Armando. But just to remind you, when he's been at 50% or higher of the snaps and workload, he's been in top 10 running back in both games. Small sample size, but he looks great. The scheme is awesome. And ultimately, the risk is just the fact that he flares up all the time, and he's already entering this game with something. So I do worry about him getting hurt. And it just matters, like, when does that happen? If it's in the end of quarter 3, you're probably good. If it's the beginning of quarter 1, you're probably screaming and ripping your hair out. But of these options, I do go Guerendo. Yeah, you only pick one of them. I'm going Guerendo over those options there, Armando. Tracy or McCormick? I'm going to go Tracy there, Jeff Chula. Hot Nut Poncho. Have Deebo, Jennings, and Ertz full PPR. Which two? I would go Jennings and Deebo and bench Ertz here, Hot Nut Poncho. This is one where it's like, okay, I'll ride that Deebo gut feeling tonight. Guerendo or Jonathan Taylor? Oh, man, DeMarcus. Kind of want to just go Guerendo. Send it. I'm going to bump Guerendo over Taylor in my rankings. It's risky. Again, it's very risky, but the Broncos matchup's no bueno there. Jeff Chula, sit one. London, Ladd, Neighbors, or DJ Moore, PPR. Thanks, Wolf. If all these guys are healthy and playing, I think I'm sitting DJ Moore. Love the matchup against Tampa Bay for Ladd. Love the matchup against Baltimore for Neighbors. London's target hog. DJ Moore is it's a great situation against Minnesota. Great matchup, but the toughest, most congested, like Rome popped up last week. Keenan had 2 touchdowns the week before. It's just very congested. So I'm sitting DJ Moore as of now, Jeff. But somebody might be hurt and make it so you you don't have much of a choice. All right, I just bumped Guerendo over Taylor. It was my running back 20 and 21, so it's not like a crazy move anyways. Oh, we just answered these ones for you, Harry. Thank you again so much for the super chats. And it does look like we had a $1 super chat from Wandier, but I don't see that. And then Levi coming in with his second super chat. So Wandier, I'll look for yours, but didn't pop up immediately. But Levi asking, you rather stash Taylor or Corum before tonight? I would look for Corum. I just think there's a higher ceiling because there is a point, we've seen this before with Shanahan, where he ultimately he'll just put in use chuck. You get so many injuries. Now he's on his fourth string back. He's just like, you know what? Give me Kyle. That could happen with Taylor. Whereas Corum, if something happens to Kyron, it's just like balls to the wall, going nuts there. And so, Wandy, I see this comment, and I see this one. Do try – you're new around here, and I hate to ever criticize people that are super chatting. It's so greatly appreciated. Even if you've already said your question, you just need to bump it. It does greatly help me to just copy and paste it with there. But nonetheless, we found it. There's just been so many times I've had to scan and try to find it. This one did not end up being the case. Thank you so much for the support. Start Rico over AJB, down 20 in 2-week playoff format. QB is Hurts, JJ, Kamara, Gibbs, McBride, Nico on roster. I feel like I have upside elsewhere. Very, very tough one, Wandier. So I'll toss a few things out to you. The first is the last time A.J. Brown complained. The next game he was facing Pittsburgh, and the next game he had 3 touchdowns. I like Dowdle a lot. The matchup against Carolina is phenomenal. Rico is certainly safer. You're going to get 15, maybe 20 from Rico. In a vacuum, I probably do prefer Rico. I think down by 20, if you're swinging for upside, and you have upside, so I see what you're saying. Like, you do have upside elsewhere. Still, yeah, I'd probably just go Rico over AJB. But, man, like I saw that stat about last time Brown complained. He caught 3 touchdowns, and it was against this Pittsburgh Steelers team. So I still got to go Rico against Carolina, though. That's just too juicy right there. There's plenty of upside baked into that right there. Thank you so much again for your super chats, everybody. It's greatly appreciated. It looks like we had Austin tossing in a $2. What's with you guys just tossing the super chats and not giving the questions with it? Like, what are we doing? You know, Austin, you've been here a million times, and you're always generous. So let's find out what you got. Started the season 2-7, Wolf. Came back, putting it on the line tonight, about to be a true underdog. Let's go. Beat fell. Oh, that was last week. Hell yeah. Let's go, baby. Here we are. And let's go. You had 2 teams. You're the team of destiny here, Austin Furser. So let's go. Hell yeah. Love to see it. Love to see it indeed. And I don't know if you have a question first, or I see that was up 68. He had Chase. Oh, man, you still pulled that off. Let's go, Austin. Thank you so much for your support for the super chat there. And Harry coming in with another super chat. Thank you so much, Harry, for your support of your guy here. London, Tyreek Hill, Brian Thomas, DJ Moore need 2. I'm going to go Tyreek Hill as the clear number 1. And I do lean London for the next one. It's a good matchup. The volume's been ripe, 17 targets in 2 games. Just feels a little safer and steadier than the other 2. Great options, very tough, Harry. But I personally go Tyreek and Drake London for that one. And that wraps up these super chats for now. It is 8:04, which means I am going to fire up a rapid fire here just to make sure I get through all of these questions and help out everybody in the Wolfpack. So we had left off, it was, I believe, Hut Poncho, and then we were at Guerendo. I said Guerendo, and then we had Jeff, and it was, so we've seen all these. So we were at this one, Danny Fox, Mooney or Ridley. So rapid fire time, one last call. Wolfpack 400 a year. Not our biggest night, but hey, love that 400 a year supporting me. You guys are real ones. Thank you so, so much. Whether you're on Twitter, whether you're on YouTube, please do consider hitting that like button. Would love to have more subs over here. We could hit, almost the entire 5K if everybody here watching end up hitting that button. But thank you guys again so much. Let's fire this up. Danny Fox, Mooney, or Ridley? I am going Ridley there. Gang Weed and NBA 4KT. It says, should I start Deebo or James Cook? I'm going James Cook there, Gang Weed. Arik Duplinsky. We got a lot of weed names on here. Look at the crowd we draw. Love it. Deebo or Harris for the flex tonight. I am going to go Deebo, I think. Is he alive? I'm not sure. Is Deebo alive? Again, it's been absolutely pathetic these last few weeks, Arik, but just the squeaky wheel. I think it's getting greased tonight. We shall see. Adam Duplessis. Should I start Deebo, Judy, or Garrett Wilson? I am going to go Judy. Yeah, I'm going Judy there. Stephen Grice, full PPR wide receiver. Chase Jennings. Thoughts on your team? Good team. I need something more specific there, Stephen. I love your team, though. You got a great roster. That is absolutely stacked. Don't know if you have any questions, but you did well. Quincy Davis, start 2 running backs, 1 flex. Gibbs, Monty, Charbs, Kyron, Guerendo. You're definitely playing Kyron tonight. You're almost guaranteed to play Gibbs. I would wait this one out with, Guerendo's very intriguing. You got to play Kyron, and you're locking in a Detroit running back, most likely Gibbs. And then it becomes, would I rather have Guerendo over both Detroit running backs in? Probably. But if Charbonnet's starting Quincy Davis, you got to have him in there. So I would just bench Guerendo tonight. A lot of risk to him, too, even though I do love him. So, yeah. Deebo or McLaurin. I'm going to go McLaurin there, John Andrew. Do I flex Monty, Thielen, Jamo, Amari, or Pickens if he plays? I would flex Monty for this one. Giuseppe, followed by Thielen would be my next closest there. And then we had Wandier. We got your super chat already. So we're at Thielen or Ridley. We're going Ridley over Thielen very slightly, though. Very close there. Then we got Neighbors, Deebo, London. Have to sit 1. And DJ Moore has to sit 1. I would be sitting DJ Moore there, Chess. We got hello from Mexico. Who should I start, Shakir or Myers? Hello from Mexico, Daniel Maldonado. I would go Shakir over Myers there. Will Wood, start Deebo or Guerendo? I am going to go Guerendo over Deebo. Deebo as a flex could be. Depends what the other options are. Squeaky wheel could get greased there. Deebo or James Cook? I'm going to go James Cook there. Opponent has Gibbs, Montgomery, Samuel Jr., Kittle, Jennings, and Jefferson. Week 1 playoffs. Good luck, Arcanibus. You got a bunch of stuff on the line tonight, huh? Cup or Scary Terry? I'm going to go Cup over him, code Master. Then we got Shakir, a repeat. Stop repeating. Hey, Jeff's an Endicott alum. Hell yeah, you missed Bevtown. Where do you live? Where are you from, Jeff? If you're still tuned in, comment on it. Let me know where you're from. I grew up hometowny over here in Bev, a Panther, born and bred. Still living here. Recently bought a house here. Going nowhere. My wife actually graduated from Endicott as well. Class of 2012, if I'm not mistaken, and Jeff. So, hey, what year did you graduate? Where do you live now? Would love to know, Jeff. Ghostman Ron, should I play Guerendo or wait for Hall Allen if Hall don't play? I'd play Guerendo, Ghostman. Crazy, yeah, his crazy stat, isn't it? So, yeah, good luck, Wandier, making that decision. Hello, guys. Already repeating. See, this is what happens, Campanelli. When you don't show up to moderate, we got Daniel Maldonado repeating his questions time and times again. Would you start Tracy over Najee to free up that flex spot? It's close. I probably prefer Najee. I just looked at AR Canvas. I don't love doing. I keep doing the AR Canvas. You're R Cannabis. I get it. Why do I do that? I don't know. It's just ingrained in my brain. Habits are tough to break. I looked at my rankings, R Cannabis, and I have Najee at 27 and Tyrone at 28. I was like, what do I rank these as? So it's close enough. It's clearly close enough that if it frees something up for you, go for it, R Cannabis. You're obviously sitting Wolf, Truth, or CJ. You just gotta start the Wolf, David. Both of them can be benched. No, you can't bench any of them. They're all studs there. Come on, you got to find a room in your lineup for all 3 of those beauties. Our Cannabis. Other options for flex would be my bunch of receivers from Wish. Oh yeah, you got to go for one of the running backs. I would say for sure. Then we got South Shore, Marsh Vegas 2011. Best times ever. Love it up there. Hell yeah, Jeff. Hey, maybe we usually do a live show. I don't think we're hitting one this year. It was too much going on with the move and tons of other news that I'll be breaking soon enough. We just couldn't pull a live show. But man, it'd be fun to have a beer if you ever make your way up the North Shore. As you said, the greenery, all that good. The pickled onion, baby. Great times at the pickled onion. We'll have to grab a beer, watch a game there sometime, man. That'd be classic. Arcanis, I'm not leaning towards benching Najee and hoping on a receiver boom, but crazy things happen. They sure do in the playoffs. And that wraps it up, which is perfect because I got to publish my updated rankings, get those on the site. I got to get Josh Downs in there. But, guys, thank you so, so much. Best of luck. Your fantasy playoffs, week 1 of the playoffs. Let's go, guys. Thank you so much, our cannabis and everybody, all you guys. Multiple super chats from our cannabis, Levi C., Mr. Fella, Forrester, battling it out. Love to see both you guys here tonight. Harry with multiple super chats, Lee. All you guys are so, so generous. Papa Sarno, week in and week out. Wandier coming in with a super chat. Forrester, Harry. All you guys, so, so generous. Mr. Blunt, I love the Blunt. Multiple super chats from you. Everybody else out there on your way out, please hit that thumbs up button. All the content, my rankings are at rotostreetjournal.com. So many amazing writers, such a talented crew. Love the guys I work with on this thing. So check it on out. Very proud of what we've been doing this year. In a crazy year, we're continuing to churn and make the best of what we've got. So in a world full of fantasy sheep, guys, be that wolf. Get the playoff win. I'll be live Sunday morning, 8 a.m., bright and early. Can't wait to see you all then. Thanks again. Later, Wolfpack. rotostreetjournal.com, baby.